Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So it's time for Convincing. This is one of our Convincing My Bestie videos, but we're going to do things a little bit different today. So Mandy, tell them what we're doing. I'll mess it up.
This is going to be your ultimate guide to all the books that need more hype. And we will have another video later because we're convincing each other. So there are definitely books that need more hype, but that we've both read. So you will keep an eye out for that. That will be coming later in 2025. Isn't that wild to say?
It is a little bit, yeah.
But this video is going to not bring you just 6 books, but we're going to actually have a total of 20. We're each going to give the other person 10 books that need more hype. And I am very excited for this.
Yeah.
We started off with, we were each going to do 6 because we've done this the combo, convincing before. But then I texted Jessica and I'm like, no, I can't do it. I have 9. She's like, fine, let me go see if I can come up with some more. And then she's like, well, now I have 10. So we are each bringing you 10 books that need more hype. And we think that you should probably go read all 20 of them. So make that your New Year's goal, to read all 20 of these books that need more hype. Or pick one with us. Join in the fun.
Exactly. And you also want to tell them?
Well, they should probably hit that subscribe button.
Probably. Yeah.
Yes. So we have made it to 2,000. So we're getting ready to do our big giveaway of these books. And to help us keep track so we can make sure we connect with you and can get you the book sent, we have a Google Doc. We also are going to be doing our big 2-year anniversary video, and we're going to combine all of this together into one big fun video. So to be entered to win, hit that subscribe button and also fill out this Google Doc so that we have all your information. So if you are the winner, we can send you the books. And it's really simple. You do not have to answer the questions, but we just ask if there's anything you want to see us do in the 2-year anniversary episode, as well as if you have any questions, because we did get that quite a bit in our last one that we did. You guys asked for a Q&A video. So we want to combine that with this. So if you have questions for us, fill that out. You do not have to answer any of those questions, though. If you just want to be entered in to win, that is fine too.
Okay. All right. So let's get started. So I'm going to give you my 10.
Yes,
then you're going to give me your 10, and then we're both going to choose at the end.
So what makes a book need more hype? Well, our definition for the purpose of this video is any book that has less than 5,000 ratings on Goodreads. Okay. Some of mine hardly have any, and it is mind-boggling.
It is.
So we hope this video changes that.
Okay. You ready?
No.
Oh.
Get your TBR journal and follow along with us.
Okay. Now you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So the first book that I have for you is one I read just a few weeks ago, and that is Heath by Kay Webster and Nikki Ash. So this is a dark Wuthering Heights retelling. This only has 1,100 roughly ratings on Goodreads. So this definitely needs more hype. So I know that you've never read the book or watched the movie, so hopefully you'll love it as much as I do. There is audio for this, but this is the story of Heath and Katrina. And Katrina, you're not going to like her in the beginning. Nobody likes her in the beginning. They have a very tumultuous relationship. He was basically adopted by her father when he was a little boy, and they've had a relationship ever since they were in their teens. Things just changed for them. They were never really raised like brother and sister, but still, he lived with them. And now they're in their, early 20s, and she has, her dad wants her to marry this other wealthy guy. She's afraid of losing her wealth. Something happens to her dad where that's a possibility, and she has to choose between the two. And technically there's 3 stories going on here. This definitely follows the book if you've read Wuthering Heights, but I loved it. You'll hate me halfway through it, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Really am. So, okay. The next book that I have is not in this journal. Let me just say. is one. So you read a Postapocalyptic this year and you really enjoyed it.
I did.
You did. So I pulled out Broken by Imogen Keeper. This is a novella. This one's really small, but this is the first book in a series. I think there's 6 books in the series right now, and it's still not complete. But the first book has audio. The first book really sets up the world, but that's what I'm going to throw out there. So this has less than 2,000 ratings. It's got 1,900. I love this series. This is about Frankie and York. So Frankie is, so there's a virus going around. It's like, I can't remember what they call it, the French flu, whatever. There's a virus and it's killing everybody. Everybody is dying. And so when the book starts out, Frankie is holed up in her house with her husband, and they are thinking that they might survive this. Like, nobody's gotten sick yet. York is in the military. He is flown home to try and find his brother, who's in DC. This all takes place in DC. And he is, his brother has some addiction problems. And so he's trying to find his brother. He's the only person he's got left in the world. He sees Frankie when her and her husband are trying to evacuate. They're loading up the car and he's like, oh, look at that ass. And then he sees that, it's a woman and she's married and they're walking down the street. And then a few days later, Frankie's husband, something happens and York hears her crying out in agony. Like, he just knows that it's her. Like, he's down the road. And things kind of just go from there. So there's a little boy that gets found in here. So there is some found family, but this sets up the world. Loved it.
Have you read the rest of the series?
I've read all except for the last one. I have it on my shelf. I just haven't read it yet. Because I feel like I need to do a reread, because it was about a year between the last book that came out and the one before that. I feel like I need to do a reread so that I can really, I just don't remember what happened in that last book.
Are they all about the same couple?
Mm-hmm. It is an extreme slow burn. They don't even technically meet and get together until the very end of this book is where they meet, but they don't get together for a book or two later. So it's just setting things up. There is audio for the first one, but not for the rest as of right now. But it is a really good story and it will consume you. It did me. And then I had to wait for other books. Okay. So the next one that I have for you, you've read the second book in this series, but not the first one. And that is Birdie's Biker by Misty Walker. So this goes back to the very first book in her Royal Bastard series. I think Misty Walker is one of the most underrated authors for MC romance. She has the best MC romances. They're dirty, they're gritty, but they're good and they're fun and they're just good. She's awesome. So this is about Bridget and Loki. So Bridget's dad runs it's like a pharmaceutical company or a chemical company or something. He ends up making this virus accidentally and he gets into the wrong hands, and he needs someone to protect his daughter while he's trying to figure that out, like trying to keep the world from dying because of this virus that these guys have, that they're threatening the world with. And so he pays the Royal Bastards MC to be bodyguards and protect his daughter. So they show up and basically abduct her. Like, she's like, what is going on? Like, her dad tells her, but she's like, oh my God, what's going on? And they take her back to her compound to keep her. Loki is the president of the MC, and he is like, what the heck? He ends up calling her Birdie, but like, he's not on board for it, but then he gets on board for it, and it's like a whole thing for them. So, Birdie's Biker, that whole series, I love it. It's really good. So, and there is audio for that now, where there wasn't when I first read it, but there is now. And then I have a book that I don't actually physically have, but I think that you're going to really like this one. This is Sparking Sarah by Samantha Christie. Again, this is like the second book in the series. They're all standalones. I've read all 3, but I'm telling you, you would like this one. So it has just under 5,000 ratings. It is firefighter romance with amnesia. Yes, and there is audio. So Sarah is rescued by our firefighter, who is what is his name? I can't read it. It's too far away from me. Denver is his name. She is, I think her car is like about to go off a bridge, and he's coming in through the back to try and get her out, and she locks eyes with him in the mirror, and all she can think of is these gray eyes. And so she's actually in the hospital for quite a while. Denver has quite the backstory. We hear a lot of about his trauma from being younger. This is their story, but I mean, like, it's amnesia. And I don't really need to tell you much more than that. It is a firefighter, amnesia, angsty. She also has a fiance.
Yes.
Yeah, Mandy's like, yeah. It's been a few years since I read it. Okay.
We're done.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so there's that. What number was that?
That should be 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. That makes sense. Okay. Number 5.
I said that should be 4, and you said 1, 2, 3, 4.
Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss a flag.
I am so glad that you can count to 4.
Thank you. Sometimes I need that reminder that I can. Okay. I have talked about this series before, and I typically talk about the second book, but we're going to talk about the first book. I think that this is one of the most underrated series out there. It has less than 600, well, it has 600 ratings on or less on all 3 books. It's so good. And it's set in Alaska, and we do Alaska right, okay? So if you like yourself a wild mountain man, well, that's what this is. So this is Wilderness by Lindbergh.
This is the last one.
No, I didn't. I used the Wildling in the last one.
Oh, it was Wildling. Okay.
It was the second one. Yeah. I'm telling you, more people need to be reading these books. So I haven't talked about the first one that often. So this is the first book in her Midnight Sun series. The second book is my favorite. I'm going to tell you that right now. But this one is so good. So this is about Jessie and Brock. Jessie is a bush pilot. She flies her float plane in and out of the bush. And you have Brock. He is a adrenaline junkie, and he is going to Alaska. He's fleeing something, and so he decides to go to Alaska. He is like a billionaire. He has money. He has an attraction to Jessie. They end up having a one-night stand when he first gets to Alaska, and then the next day he shows up to get on his bush plane and realizes that the person who he had the one-night stand with, who left him in the middle of the night, was the pilot of this bush plane. And so we see a lot of him and her. It's more of like an enemies to lovers kind of situation. He is in the bush in Alaska, and she is the one who has to come in and get him supplies. But then some things happen, and there's a bad guy, and there's some other things that happen, and he's got to rescue, and it's just like a whole thing. It's so good. But Alaska's done right. I mean, hello. I know that didn't give you like the whole story, but trust me, it's a good one. So, okay. So then the next one that I have, one of my favorite, like I always say BJ Alpha books are my favorite, like everyone that pulls up, but this really is like her most angsty, yummy. This is Veiled in Hate. You've read Shaw. So I feel like you don't have to read Shaw before you read Veiled in Hate, but that's where you first meet Luca, who is our hero. Yeah. So this is Luca and Camille's story. This is an arranged marriage situation. There has been a war between the two families for years. Camille's brother supposedly killed Luca's sister, and Luca has just been on the war path ever since. And so their capos come together and they're like, you two are getting married. We're going to end this war between these two families, and this is how we're going to do it. And neither one of them want it. Luca really doesn't want it. Like, they hate each other, to the point where Luca's like, I'll never breed with her because she has tainted blood. Like, I don't want her
breed with her.
Breed with her. Yep. I'll never have kids with her. It's BJ. There's breeding going on here. It is so good and so angsty, and it's just yummy. So, and I love Luca as like the asshole mafia hero. God, he's so good. So there's that one. That has less than 3,000 ratings. Okay, so the next book that I have is Beautifully Insightful by Casey Lynn. We met Casey Lynn in July in the Rockies. She's a sweetheart. So this is about Emily and Ryder. So Emily is blind, and it's due to a trauma response to something. Yeah, didn't know it could make you blind, but apparently it can. So her dad was like the governor or mayor, senator, like he's high up somewhere in politics. And his family, her parents are horrible. They just want a daughter for the sake of being able to say I have a daughter. We're not even going to say that word. I can't even say it. So she isn't allowed to go to public school, especially after she goes blind for quite a long time. But then finally her senior year, they allow her to go to school. She does whatever she has to do to go to this public school. And that is where she meets Ryder. He is there from the wrong side of the tracks. And these two they fall in love in school, but then something tears them apart. and they are separated for like I don't remember how many years it was. I didn't even write it down, but they are separated for many, many years. And then he runs into her again, and she is no longer blind. And so this is their little angsty story of what ripped them apart and how that played out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Then I cannot believe I didn't use this in my last video, and I don't know why I didn't use this the last time we did it, but okay. So this one is, I cannot believe it only has 641 ratings. Like, it blows my mind. And that is Sparks of Madness by Brent Ford. Why does this not have more? I don't understand. Like, this will be like my top read or one of my top reads of the year. I just don't get it. So this is the Amber Glenn book 1. This is a trilogy, but this is about our heroine, who is Mercy, and our hero is Arlo. In this world, so this is dystopian, the women in this cult, and it is a cult too, which we love those. They are separate. They're either wives or they're these, like, it's kind of like Handmaid's Tale. So they're these maidens. Or they call them the servants of the domestics is what they call them. So she is considered a servant. One night a month, the men get to purge, and that means they can do whatever they want to these girls, whether that's beat them, screw them, whatever they want to do. That's what happens in this open field. But these girls are trained that they are not allowed to run. Like, if you see a guy coming at you with a knife, you're not allowed to run. You're not allowed to even take a step back. Otherwise, it's considered sinning and you're doing wrong. So on one night of this night of the purge, something happens, and Mercy ends up stepping back. She ends up fleeing. And it's a pretty bad situation that she flees from. And so because of that, she's considered a sinner, and she's put up for these trials. There's these 3 trials that she's going to have to go through. Nobody has ever survived the trials. And Arlo is the person who's put in charge. He's a part of this council that watches over these people in the thing and in the cult. And he has to watch over her. This is one of those that I was holding my breath through the whole book, through all 3. Because I'm like, how? First of all, she has to survive, right? Like, she has to survive. Second of all, how? How are they going to make this good? Like, he's part of the people that are torturing her. Like, why can't he just save her? It was just like a whole thing. Loved it so much. So there's that. Next, I have one of your favorite tropes. So this is The Hired Help by Layla Simon. This is only 600 ratings as well. 601. Hopefully you'll make it 602. So this is about our heroine, Brooke. And she is dating this guy, Harrison. And something happens between them, which makes her angry. She's still a virgin, or she's very inexperienced, I think is what it is. She's very inexperienced. And so she hires a male escort to come and teach her about sex. And little does she know that the male escort that she hires is her boyfriend's dad. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. That's all I'll say. Okay. And this should be my last one. Correct? Are you counting?
I'm still taking notes. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I will count. 1, 2, 3.
I'm doing 10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes.
Okay. So the last book that I have is Named by M.L. Marion. This one is, so it's technically the 3rd in the series, but she's like, it really is a spinoff of its own. So this is the series that's based off 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, but this one takes place back in the late 1800s. And this is about Dove and Jedediah. So Dove is mute. She went through some trauma as a child, and she has slashes across her throat, and she can no longer speak. All of this was inflicted by her stepfather, who has raised her since she was 5, and he's a horrible, horrible person. And so he decides that, so nobody even knows her name. Like, nobody, we know that she's Dove because it says that she's Dove, but she doesn't like speak to anybody. They all call her girl in this town. And then you have Jed. He's coming to town. He's looking for his wife. He's looking for his wife that he gets to kidnap and keep as his wife. And he ends up going into the saloon one day where Dove's dad is trying to sell her to the highest bidder for a night and to pay his gambling habit. And when he sees this, he's like, oh, heck no. And so he, decks the dad, and he takes her, and then he takes her back to his home. So, and the way he is with her, oh my gosh, he is such a cinnamon roll to her. But if you lay a finger on his woman, we're going to have a problem. Loved this story so much. It's set in the 1800s, which just really just does it for me. It's a Western. It's a cowboy. It's a Western. But yet he's clubbing her over the head and taking her without clubbing her over the head and taking her. So there you go. There's my turn.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
Okay. My first one is Breaking Giants by L.M. Halloran. This is Rockstar. It's the first in the Breaking Love series. So we have Rose and Julian. Rose's parents were famous musicians and they are both deceased now, which has led her to be fairly guarded in her own musical talents. So she runs this cafe and sometimes she will do open mic night and like sing, and she's very, very talented. And Julian is in this very famous Breaking Giants band, and he comes into the cafe one time to try and somewhat secretly try out some new material type stuff, like that sort of thing is kind of happening. And he happens to hear Rose and he like falls for her. And from there, things get, very complicated because guess what? Julian's engaged. Dun, dun, dun. So I'll just leave that on that little cliffhanger.
Okay.
Unless there's something else you want to know.
No, I'm good.
Okay. So next, I have Love You Truly by Stacey Travis. This is about Mallory. Mallory is desperate to get her ex out of her life. And her parents are very like flighty people. And they believe that she needs a man in her life to help give her direction. So for her to inherit the winery, she needs to be married. And they want her to marry her ex-boyfriend. Her ex-boyfriend still wants to be with her because he wants the winery. So it's all sorts of messy. But she decides to get Dash to marry her so she can inherit the winery. Dash gets some stuff out of this as well because he also owns a winery. So they have this like fake relationship going on, but really they're just like perfect for each other. She is also 33, so we have more like the mature heroine. So we have this fake relationship, marriage of convenience going on, all taking place in a winery. Loved it.
Okay.
I know it was probably too cutesy for you. Sorry. Okay. Next up, I have. Oh, this is really complicated with 10.
Yeah.
Let's try to keep everybody organizing. I'm going to get to the dark romance just for you.
Okay.
So this is Hope Rising by Vanessa Sheets. This does not have very many reviews. It's a recent release. This is like a hidden gem author that everyone needs to go read. I know that's the whole point of this video, but anyways.
Yeah.
So we have Grace. Grace is kidnapped, more like adult napped, but I guess we just call it kidnapping. She is taken and kept by this just horrific man. And the thing that literally saves her is her daughter. She ends up finding out she's pregnant after she's been taken, and she gives birth to her daughter. Her daughter is 3, and things just, I mean, it's horrible. Like she has to do horrible things just to get like some very basic things for her daughter. And they live kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's somewhat of a rundown house nearby, and somebody ends up buying that and moving in, and that's Declan. And so she sees Declan as her like one opportunity to get her and her daughter out of this horrific situation that she has not been able to get out of. And so Declan becomes the hero in their life. And but Declan is bringing a lot of baggage to the table as well. And so it's 2 very broken people trying to figure out how to go forward. But just because she's no longer being held there does not mean that there's no more threats to her and her daughter. So we have like dark romance going on. There's some difficult things to read in this. We have romantic suspense. It's just, it's so, so good. So good. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Just flipping a roo here. Don't mind me. So many journals to go to. Okay, next I have I Wish I Would Have Chosen You by Whitney G. Now, this is a go in blind book. So I'm going to try and give like very little information. And I know that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So we have age gap and we have a high school boarding school situation. So we have student professor type situation happening here. We have Genevieve and Liam. And Genevieve is extremely, she is presented very well in this book as being very, like, there's intellectual reasons that some people are attracted to each other and that sort of thing. So I don't want to give anything else away. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. That the age gap taboo just really hit good in this one. But again, you kind of have to go in blind to really, really enjoy it.
Okay.
So I'm just going to give you the tropes there. Okay. One moment while I check where I'm at.
Okay.
Next, I have Bitter Rival by Emery Rose Andrews. This is about Daisy and Beckett. Daisy and Beckett were once upon a time related, sort of through marriage. They were stepbrother and stepsister, and things happened between their parents, and they haven't seen each other for a very long time. And Beckett's dad passes away, and Daisy finds out that her and Beckett have inherited the winery. And the will says they both have to come and live and work on the winery for like 3 months before they get their inheritance. So Daisy reluctantly goes, and Beckett is not like, he's pretty irritated by the entire situation that they left to live here together and work on this winery. Like, he did not have a good relationship with his dad, so he just really feels like this is his dad's way of getting back at him again for their relationship. And so he's extremely bitter about it and is not happy that he has to share time with Daisy, because Daisy's like, he is a workaholic type guy, and Daisy comes off very flighty, and he's just does not like that at all. And the two of them are forced to work together. So we have like enemies to lovers vibes. We have definite grumpy sunshine. This is a slow burn, but I love the winery setting. It is really a cool like vibe. So,
Okay.
okay. Loved it. I loved all of these. They wouldn't be
Obviously.
on here if I didn't love them.
Right.
Okay, next I have a little more of a romantic suspense, like thriller type book. This is Alone with You by Ali Martinez. We have Second Chance. This is a very emotional book. So we have Gwen and Truett. They used to know each other to start the book. We don't know what their relationship is, but Truett does not leave his home except for once a week to maintain some sort of normalcy for his daughter. He will force himself to walk down to the diner. And one day he walks down to the diner to find it closed. Now, so this is a guy who this is the only time he ever leaves his house, is this once a week trip to the diner. So he kind of loses his shit. And he is shocked to find out that Gwen now owns the diner. And Gwen is shocked to find out that Truett is not doing well. And so she feels like she just really wants him to go away, but she also feels really bad that his life doesn't seem to be going so well. And so, oh, this is hard to talk about. It's so good. It's heavily on the romantic suspense thriller side because you don't really know what's going on. It's really, really good. Ali Martinez is a fantastic author.
Mm-hmm.
There are elements in this that might be tough for some people to read, so make sure you check triggers if you think that is something that might apply to you. But it is very suspenseful, and I love a good romantic suspense. Okay, next I have The One I Need by Shel Sloan. This is about Izzy and Oliver. So Oliver is part of this group of guys. They're really good friends, and the series kind of sees them all, finding the one for them. So this is book 2 in Rolling Hills. You do not have to read them on order.
Yeah, I think you and
So
I have this
Oliver
common.
loves
Right.
love, and he proposes to everyone. He's like on his 33rd proposal or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
because the minute he feels the connection, he's like, "Will you marry me?" And the girls freak out, like, "Why are you asking already?" So he meets Izzy at a wedding, And Izzy is there very reluctantly because she does not love love. And the two of them end up hitting it off and becoming friends, which ends up leading to a Vegas wedding. So, a lot of fun. Oliver was fantastic. When you just find that hero that you just really enjoy, that's Oliver.
Okay.
All right. Next, I have The Heartbreak List by Misty Murphy, which is an extremely emotional read. Andy finds out that she has a brain tumor and her prognosis is not well. Like, this is like a terminal type situation. She's engaged, and Gray is really just stifling her. He wants her to live so badly that he is not allowing her to live, if that makes sense. She meets Theo. The first time she meets Theo, Theo's high. He's coming out of the bathroom, tucking himself back in with a girl on his heels type situation. But Theo has embraced life. So even though he's a very broken soul who is drinking and doing drugs, he does not try and contain her into this little box of fragileness. He lets her live, and they become very close, which leads to other things. But again, she's engaged and planning her wedding.
And dying.
Yes. The heartbreak list is heartbreaking. Does have a Hia. It is also fantastic. Okay, so my next one is Secret Love by Willow Astor. This is about True. True moves to this town to be a substitute teacher, and she's hoping to get a full-time position. She meets Henley at the grocery store and is rather smitten by him. And the next time she's meeting Henley, he is chewing her out about how she has treated his daughter, which turns out to be a case of mistaken identity. And from there, the two of them start a relationship. He is part of the Single Dads Club where I just love the Single Dads Club. They meet like for coffee and talk about the things that are happening with their kids and just all of that stuff. We also have him as a football player, so he's like uber famous and hot. But because she really wants this teaching job, she does not want anybody to know that she's dating one of her students' dads because that's, not cool. So we kind of have this like secretive relationship, but also just a really, really, really sweet story. I have a lot of sweet stories mixed with dark. I don't know what that says about me. So the next one is me being kind of a sneaky little bitch here.
Sneaky bitch,
Two
huh?
books.
Okay.
Okay, this is the Surviving Earth Chronicles. So we have Skies of Fire by Lindsay Pogue and Waves of Fury by Kay Webster. It's set in the same time, and we have two brothers that are working to basically find each other again in the middle of the United States after the world has been in chaos for about 50 years because an asteroid hit the moon and it's just really screwed with all the things on Earth. So there's like tornadoes, there's volcanoes that are erupting all over Texas, and then we have a tsunami that comes. So lots of crazy stuff is happening. So in Skies of Fire by Lindsay Pogue, we have Ava and Knox, and there's volcanoes and sinkholes all over in Texas. Ava is alone and she needs her medication, and Knox and Ava don't like each other. Their families do not like each other at all. And Knox and her end up together trying to get out of Texas to survive this together. So I won't go into too much detail because it's like a twofer. And then in Waves of Fury, we have Kellen and Tyler. So this is MM. Kellen is stranded in this high-rise building in San Francisco with the food delivery person, Tyler. He doesn't have like a fancy title, probably because like in books you can't like use actual company names, maybe. So he's just there delivering this sandwich when the tsunami hits and they're stuck up there together with a few other people. Kay Webster takes no mercy on you and people will die. Like, it is rough in her world here, and they are just trying to get out of San Francisco and make it across the country. And the brothers are hoping that the other brothers survived and they can meet up. Kay and Lindsay both said that there is no particular order that you need to read the books in, although Kay says she always feels like Lindsay's book comes first and then hers, so that's how I chose to read them. But they just kind of go together because they're from the same world. They are fantastic. This is what kind of got me excited about post-apocalyptic books. So, and both of them do not have very many reviews, so go read those. And it's funny that Kay Webster ended up on both of our lists.
Yeah. Yep, for
All
sure.
right, so that should be my 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Contemporary with a little bit of dark.
Mm-hmm.
But all 20 of these books, I'm sure, are fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So people can pick based on their mood.
Yep.
And we're each going to pick one, but I challenge everyone else to like really set your TBR and try and read more authors that need more hype. We love to bring attention to authors that need more hype.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So who is going to tell what they're reading first? I got to pull my notes back up because I stuck them off to the side.
Stuff down first. So
okay. So all of your books, for the most part, sound really good. There's a few that are just not quite up my alley of reading. But 2 are really, really sticking with me that I want to read, like really badly. Can you guess which 2 I really, really want to read?
Probably the one with amnesia, for one. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air for a couple of them. Like, is it BJ's or
No.
Kay Webster's?
No.
No? Is it Misty's?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
I really want to read the Imogen Keeper.
Oh, that one, yes.
Series.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. And I just really like, I've read a little tiny bit of post-apocalyptic, but Kay Webster and Lindsay Poe, like really, those were the first that I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to read more in this genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah. So I can't decide between the 2. So I think I'm going to try and read both of those. And you do not have to obviously pick 2 books, but you did say Broken was more of a novella.
Oh, it is. Broken is not
series.
very long at all. It starts the series.
So I'm going to read Sparking Sarah, and then I'm going to read Broken. And if I like it, I'm going to read that series because it sounds fantastic. But I'm keeping a list of all these other books so that when I am complaining that I have nothing to read, I can look at them.
Yeah, well, I would tell you how long Broken is, but there's no page numbers. There's no page numbers. So
interesting.
That's just weird. So, but there is audio for it, and it's quick, fast. So you're gonna read. Oh my god. Okay, say that again. My brain just started circuiting.
I'm gonna read Sparking Sarah, and then I'm gonna read Broken. And if I like Broken, then I'll keep going with
in the series.
So I'm gonna take both of those just because I really want to read both of them.
Okay. And
hopefully that doesn't bite me in the butt before we have to do our reactions.
No, I know. So then when I look at your list, like there's some that I really, really want to read. There's a few that I want to read that don't have audio, which I tend to like when I go into books without audio, those ones that sometimes I rate higher. But this week is kind of crazy. So I don't have time to do that unless there's audio. So I'm just looking to see what there is. So I'm going to go with Laura's, Ellen Holleran's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to go with this one. All right. Okay. So we're going to go pick up these books and we'll be back when we're done.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Jessica, how did you like Breaking Giants?
I liked it. It felt like it was a little different. There was definitely some angst. It was great. I enjoyed it. I gave it a solid 4 stars. It was good.
Awesome.
I might be having a little bit of an L.M. Halloran week because I've read other books since then of hers. So,
did you continue on in a series?
Not yet.
I haven't either. It's on my list. I really want to.
But just so anybody like out there, if you know, like anybody knows, just so you all know, sorry, can't get the words out. A lot of L.M. Halloran's books that are on Audible, which this is on Audible, Fall Before Flight just came out on Audible this last week. That one is not free with your subscription to Audible, but all of her other books are. So I just listened to Double Vision. That was free on Audible. So just if you have your Audible subscription, you can go get like all of her books except for the one that just released free. So do that.
Yes. If you want to listen.
Yeah. Which is great while you're wrapping Christmas presents.
This comes out after Christmas.
Okay, it's great when you're wrapping after Christmas presents. I have birthday presents to wrap right after that. Didn't plan my kids very well.
Poor timing.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So, how was Sparking Sarah?
I really enjoyed it a lot. And I kind of want to go read the rest in that series now.
They're all good. I liked them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read them in order. Did you actually go and listen to the other one you said you were going to do?
So, well, I didn't give my rating yet. So I gave it 5 stars. I really, really liked it.
The first one I think is even more emotional. Igniting
really?
Ivy.
Okay.
It deals with the loss. So yeah. And it's in Hawaii.
Ooh, okay.
So
I'm a sucker for those kinds of books though. So
yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then were you an overachiever? Did you actually go and listen to the first book in Imogen Keeper's series?
I did not listen to it, but I read it.
Okay.
I really liked it. I hated you because it was very emotional at the beginning.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why I didn't want to record this morning because I was working on book 2.
Oh, okay.
And I needed to know. I needed to get to a place where I could like leave off for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to like I told you I haven't finished the last book and I need to go and read like the last couple of chapters of the book prior because it's been a couple of years since I read it, but I really want to continue the series without rereading the whole series. But
yeah, that's
the problem when there's like a big gap as books come out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Honestly though, like even if it's only been a few weeks, sometimes I have to like think about.
Oh, same. So true. So very true. I think it's because we read so much.
I don't think that's what it is.
You just think it's our age, or you just think it's you?
No, I just like, I mean, if I asked you what you did 2 weeks ago, would you like be able to give me details?
We recorded videos that week.
2 weeks ago?
We record videos every week. That is a safe answer.
No, on a specific, like 2 weeks to this day, though, we were not recording.
No.
But you don't know what you were doing.
No.
Exactly.
No.
All right.
Okay. All right. There you guys have it.
Well, we hope you guys discovered some books that we feel need more hype that you are eager to read and will bring more hype to as well. And make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on those notifications because we have some great stuff coming up in January for those Wednesdays.
Yep, I'm really excited for January. They're going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.